feel like you're just average? That you're basically invisible to the women you're interested in? You're not invisible. You're just looking for the wrong evidence. You might feel like you're getting no signals. But what if I told you that women are sending them constantly, just in a language you've been trained to ignore? This isn't about guesswork. This is about decoding. In this video, I'm going to give you the silent signal system, 7 specific subtle signs that prove you are far more magnetically attractive than you realize. But before we can even begin to spot these signals, we have to fix something much more fundamental. The problem isn't just what you're missing. Is that the entire ruler you're using to measure your own attractiveness is broken from the start. So what makes that ruler so broken? One belief. Before we get into the silent signal system, we need to clear the misconception that holds men back, that your magnetic pull is decided by your face or your physique. From a woman's perspective, that's a fundamental misunderstanding. Your looks might make her glance at you once, but what keeps her drawn to you is how she feels in your presence. Remember when a woman relaxed, leaned in, and started sharing more than she planned while talking to you? That subtle but powerful softening is her body responding to your energy, not your jawline. Those are the signals we're about to decode, starting with the one men mistake for friend zone. That signal is this. People, especially women, confide in you easily. A friend starts sharing something heavy, leaning in a little as her voice drops. Even a woman you just met says, "I don't know why I'm telling you this," and opens up. You've probably lived this pattern, and each time you tell yourself, "I'm just easy to talk to, the safe listener. That's why I get friend zoned." Then file it under nothing special. From a woman's side, that's not what's happening. What you're seeing is emotional magnetism. Your presence makes her nervous system relax. She stops performing, lingers, and tells you more because you're broadcasting reliability, quiet confidence, and social intelligence. Those aren't passive nice guy traits. They're active signals of emotional stability women register as attractive. And if part of you is thinking, "That doesn't mean she's attracted to me," listen to this. In 2020, Valentine and colleagues reported in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships that in live mate selection experiments, warmth and trustworthiness predicted who felt initial romantic attraction more than looks or social status. That feeling of safety you create, it directly drives attraction. The moments you've been downgrading as just a good friend are proof you've been underestimating your impact on women. So establishing this deep trust is the crucial first step. But how do you know this connection doesn't fade after the conversation and instead leaves a lasting impression in her mind once you've walked away? That's your second silent signal. The second silent signal is that you are memorable, often without even trying. You've probably seen this happen. A coworker brings up a small random detail you mentioned weeks ago, or a woman you met briefly at a party remembers your name and exactly what you talked about. These aren't just polite gestures. What women notice without ever saying it is the energy behind those details. Average guarded energy is forgettable. But your unique quirks, that distinct laugh you have, or your specific, passionate way of explaining something, they cut through the noise. They create a strong mental footprint. This isn't just you being weird, it's you being magnetic. In fact, a massive study across 53 nations confirms this. The 2007 study by Richard Lipa, which surveyed over 218,000 people, found that non-physical traits like humor, kindness, and intelligence are universally what people value most. And women in particular place significantly higher value on these memorable personality traits than on physical appearance. So your unique signature isn't just being noticed, it's being valued at the deepest level. You're leaving a lasting impression, but that's a passive effect. What about actively shaping the energy in a room and making a woman feel good before you've even said a word? But that's the next level, and it's the third silent signal we're about to decode. That third silent signal is your ability to make people laugh effortlessly. Not because you're a comedian, but because you tell a simple story and people light up, or your quiet arrival makes a tense room exhale. You usually write that off as, they're just being polite. From her side, it lands. She feels the shift and remembers who made things lighter. You are the source of that shift. As a woman, I can tell you what that looks like in her body. Her shoulders drop, her face softens, and she lets out a laugh instead of the tight, polite one. That releases relief. Think of it as social currency. Each time you give her that break, she quietly files you as the guy who makes things easier and finds herself lingering without ever saying why. And this isn't just my opinion. The data backs it up. A 2011 study by Greengrass and Miller, backed by later research, found that a man's ability to create humor predicted his dating success. When he was funny, women rated him as more desirable because her brain reads that humor as a subtle but powerful signal of intelligence and social warmth. And she remembers the guy who made a rough day feel lighter. Yes, making her laugh matters. The shift is when she stops enjoying your jokes and starts coming to you for your take. That's when you move from fun guy to quiet leader. And that's the next signal we're going to break down. That shift from fun to leader happens with the fourth silent signal, when a woman consistently seeks out your opinion. This isn't just for huge, life-altering decisions. And it's not just politeness or basic respect. Think about the coworker who could email her manager, but instead walks over to your desk and asks, "Can I get your brain on this?" Then she stays, watches your face while you read, and listens. What she's responding to is how your perspective feels. Calm, clear, grounded. You share your view without steamrolling her. To women, that reads as approachable authority. Now, if you're like most guys, you probably file that under "she just needed help" or "I'm the only one around." That's the story you use to keep your expectations low. Underneath, she's quietly testing your judgment. Do you get it? Without her over-explaining. Do you stay steady instead of panicking? Does your take make things feel lighter? That goes way beyond generic respect. It's her gauging if you're the kind of man she can actually lean on. Okay, stop here with me for a second. The first signals we've covered, trust, being memorable, your humor, your advice, are all about what you send out, the energy you project into a room. But the next signals are a different category. Not your intentions, but the visible ways women's bodies and behavior give them away around you. If you stay focused only on what you do and ignore those reactions, you'll miss the entire point of this silent signal system. And that little advice-seeking test I mentioned? It's directly tied to attraction. A 2020 study by Valentine and his colleagues in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that women rated men as more romantically attractive when they seemed trustworthy and competent. Those were the guys they actively wanted to go to for guidance. In other words, the same quality that makes her ask, "What do you think?" is the same one quietly nudging her attraction up. So, that physical proof I just promised you? The very first piece of that physical proof is the next signal. It's a tiny favor she does that looks completely innocent. Most men never connect it to status or attraction. If you don't know how to spot it, you're effectively blind to some of the clearest evidence of your own magnetism and hidden social status with women. That tiny, powerful action is the unprompted favor. This is the fifth signal in the silent signal system. It's when people unconsciously bend the rules for you, just a little. Think of the barista who tops off your drink without charging you. Or the person who keeps the door open those extra few seconds when they wouldn't bother for anyone else. Or the friend who quietly saves you a seat in a packed room before you even arrive. These are not random acts of kindness. They are subtle but powerful signals. And you probably told yourself they meant nothing or that people are just being nice. From a woman's side, we quietly notice that you get treated differently. Those tiny favors are the evidence your world is already tilting in your favor, even if your brain has been running the "no one really notices me" story. When you overlook them, it feels like the world is constantly working against you. When you start seeing them for what they are, the world suddenly feels like it's subtly working for you. You'd be surprised how often this pattern is already there when you finally pay attention. From a woman's perspective, we notice without ever saying it. That kind of preferential treatment is the room quietly acknowledging your social value. Social psychology work by Anderson and colleagues on status attainment, published in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, shows that people grant higher status and more cooperative, preferential behavior to those they see as both warm and competent. Warm meaning you're approachable and easy to talk to. Competent meaning you look like you basically handle your life. When we see others making space for you like that, your social gravity doesn't just make life easier. It makes you more attractive because you come across as respected, in demand, and safe to be around. Recognizing this fifth signal brings us to a critical turning point because the next signal, the sixth in the system, cuts straight across what most men have been taught about attraction. We're about to dismantle the exhausting idea that you always have to chase. Instead, you're going to see how real attraction makes the right people and opportunities start moving toward you. And here's how that happens. It's the sixth silent signal in this system. The invitation. A calm, confident presence is magnetic because it feels safe and low pressure. When you show up steady instead of hungry, she's far more willing to step toward you. So instead of you chasing, a woman who's interested will quietly move into your orbit and create an opening to interact. You've been trained to wait for an obvious green light. But from the female side, it usually doesn't look like that. A woman who's drawn to you is quietly building the road and inviting you to drive on it. The signal isn't a loud yes, it's a soft opportunity she expects you to notice. And we do this all the time without saying, "Hey, I'm the one starting this." And this isn't just talk. It shows up in observational studies of courtship. Researchers Carl Grammer and Timothy Moore in evolutionary psychology work like the journal Evolution and Human Behavior sat and coded who actually initiates. In some studies, women kicked off up to 90% of romantic encounters through subtle, nonverbal cues, creating proximity, lingering, smiling more. You'd be shocked how often what you label her just being friendly is actually her quietly starting everything. She's sending that invitation when she finds a reason to stand near you at a party, starts a casual chat in the coffee line, or keeps sitting close to you in a group. That's her making it easy and low risk to engage. It's rarely random or her just being nice. From our side, it's a safe way of saying, "I'm open if you are." You've probably seen it and brushed it off as coincidence. Noticing this flips your role from "I must chase" to "I must notice and respond," which is far less pressure. And there's one final silent signal, the seventh, that runs even deeper. Primal, an unconscious biological echo your presence can trigger in her, which you'll soon learn to read almost like science. That unconscious biological echo is called mirroring, and it's the final, most primal signal in the silent signal system. When a woman automatically starts matching your body language, posture, gestures, or even your speech rhythm. It's a subtle but powerful nervous system response. Her body syncs up with yours because she feels safe with you, in tune with you, and often a bit attracted. Notice if she leans in when you lean in, crosses her legs a beat after you do, or starts using one of your go-to phrases. She's not planning it. Her body just relaxes into your rhythm. Psychologists even have a name for this: the chameleon effect. In a 1999 study, Chartrand and Barg found that unconscious mirroring shows up when people feel rapport or attraction, and that people who were mimicked rated the mimicker as more likable. So when a woman is subtly mirroring you, her brain is tagging you as someone she feels good around. Test it. Next time you're talking to someone, especially a woman you like, make a small, distinct gesture like touching your chin. Then wait a minute and just watch. You'd be surprised how often you'll see some version of that movement echoed back to you. That's one silent signal in action, and a small window into how the whole system works in real time. Now you have all 7 signals, The real power is reading them together as one picture of the influence you already have. And that's what we're going to do next. So let's put it all together. This was never just a list of 7 random signs. It's one framework I call the silent signal system. Trust, mental space, access, and sync. Some signs were about trust, those moments she opens up more than she has to and lets you see the real her. Others showed how memorable you are. She remembers small details and brings up past conversations. Some were about access, she pulls you into her plans or her world instead of keeping you at a distance. And then there was that layer where her body quietly starts syncing with yours. Her posture, her pace, little gestures that subtly copy you. Remember, there is so much more to attraction than just looks. It involves trust, energy, influence, and presence. Each of the 7 silent signals is simply one way those 4 things leak out into how she treats you, what she shares, where she lets you in, and how her energy shifts. You've probably been brushing these off as she's just being friendly because you were taught to only trust loud movie-style signs. From now on, your job isn't to become more attractive. It's to notice every time a woman opens up, lingers, invites you in, or subtly mirrors you and let that count as real evidence. This week, watch your interactions through that lens. Out of the 7 signals, which one hit hardest? Drop the number below. That's your proof you're not invisible.